Most of the world is held together by things nobody thinks about. Not governments, not billionaires, not secret organizations. Tiny, boring systems. A lot of modern life depends on obscure ideas that sound incredibly dull until you realize that if they disappeared tomorrow, civilization would immediately start having a very bad day. This is the Binge. Today, time zones. The bizarre global agreement that allows billions of people to know roughly what time it is and somehow still causes endless confusion.
It's the Binge Podcast where everything's a blast. It's the Binge Podcast. Come join us fast.
At this exact moment, somewhere on Earth, somebody is waking up. Somebody else is eating lunch. Someone else is getting married. Someone is getting arrested. Someone is watching a movie. Someone is staring at a ceiling wondering where their life went wrong. And all of these things are happening at the same time, which sounds impossible until you remember that time is weird. Not physics weird, human weird. Because the thing most people call time is actually a giant international agreement that we've all decided to pretend makes perfect sense. It doesn't, not really. Imagine explaining time zones to an alien. You tell them Earth spins. So far, so good. You tell them different places experience daylight at different moments. Still reasonable. Then you explain that people divided the planet into invisible slices. The slices aren't always the same size. Some are bent. Some have bizarre zigzag shapes. Some countries ignore the natural divisions entirely. One place decided to be 30 minutes different from its neighbors. Another chose 45 minutes. Some places change their clocks twice a year because of decisions made decades ago. Others refuse. The alien quietly backs away because this sounds less like a system and more like a hostage negotiation. For most of human history, none of this mattered. Time was local. If the sun was overhead, it was noon. Simple, elegant, done. The village didn't care what time it was 200 miles away because nobody was going there. Travel was slow. Communication was slow. News was slow. A message could take weeks to arrive. By the time it got there, nobody cared whether it was sent at 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. Then, humans invented railroads, and railroads immediately broke everything. Railroads are one of history's great troublemakers. They solved enormous problems while creating entirely new ones. Before trains, local time worked fine. After trains, local time became a disaster. Imagine you're running a railway network across hundreds of miles. Every town keeps its own solar time. One town is 12 minutes different from another. A city farther west is 27 minutes different. Another is 33 minutes different. Suddenly, you're trying to coordinate schedules using clocks that disagree with each other. It's chaos. A train leaves one city at noon, arrives somewhere else at 12:17, except noon means something different in both places. People miss connections. Schedules become confusing. Accidents become more likely. Nobody knows what the hell is happening. The railroad companies reached a logical conclusion. Enough. We're standardizing this mess. And just like that, the modern concept of time zones was born. Not because philosophers demanded it, not because scientists were fascinated by clocks, because train companies were tired of headaches. A shocking amount of civilization works this way. History often sounds grand and noble. In reality, it's frequently people saying, this is annoying, fix it. Once standardized time appeared, countries gradually adopted it. The world became more coordinated. Business became easier. Travel became easier. Communication became easier. Everybody won. Mostly. Because then humans started drawing the actual boundaries, and that's where things got strange. In theory, time zones should be neat. Each one covering 15 degrees of longitude. Beautiful, symmetrical, predictable. Unfortunately, human beings are involved, and human beings have never met a neat system they couldn't complicate. Political borders get involved. Economic interests get involved. National identity gets involved. Suddenly, the clean lines start wobbling. Look at a time zone map long enough, and it begins to resemble something drawn during a mild nervous breakdown. There are places where neighboring communities can have different times. Places where driving a short distance changes the hour. Places where crossing a state or regional border effectively sends you into the future or the past. Not by much, but enough to miss lunch, which is arguably worse. Then there are the truly glorious oddballs, the half-hour zones, the 45-minute zones. These are the equivalent of someone looking at an already complicated situation and deciding, you know what this needs? More confusion. And somehow it works. Most of the time. The International Dateline deserves special recognition because it's one of the funniest concepts ever created. Cross it one direction and tomorrow becomes today. Cross it the other direction and today becomes yesterday. You can celebrate a birthday twice or skip one. You can technically arrive before you leave. Science fiction writers hear this and think we've discovered time travel. It's actually just geography and paperwork, but it feels suspiciously magical. What's fascinating is how completely artificial all of this is. Time zones aren't physical objects. You can't see them, you can't touch them. There's no glowing barrier in the ocean, no giant sign visible from space. They're collective agreements, ideas, shared fictions, and yet they influence billions of lives every day. Meetings, flights, financial markets, television broadcasts, sporting events, international diplomacy. Everything depends on people agreeing what the clock means, which brings us to daylight saving time, a concept that somehow manages to be controversial every single year, twice. No matter where you stand on daylight saving time, everyone can agree on one thing. Nobody enjoys changing clocks. The transition always arrives with the energy of a practical joke. People wake up confused. Dogs become confused. Children become confused. Computers occasionally become confused. For a few days, society feels slightly off balance, like somebody quietly moved all the furniture 3 inches to the left, and yet the debate never ends. It's one of civilization's eternal arguments, like pineapple on pizza, or whether anyone actually understands taxes, or why printers become possessed whenever they are needed urgently. Some discussions simply refuse to die. What makes time fascinating is that we're surrounded by it, but rarely think about it. We check clocks constantly, phones, watches, computers, microwaves, cars, airports, train stations, yet few people stop to ask why any of it works, or how much coordination is required. Every second, billions of devices remain synchronized with extraordinary precision. The internet depends on it. Banking depends on it. Navigation depends on it. Power grids depend on it. A surprising amount of civilization collapses if clocks disagree. Modern society is essentially a giant synchronized performance, and everybody has to hit their cues. This gets even stranger when you remember that time itself isn't actually perfectly simple. Scientists measure it with astonishing accuracy. Atomic clocks are so precise they become difficult to describe meaningfully. Their errors occur on scales that make ordinary human experience seem irrelevant. You could live entire lifetimes without noticing discrepancies these clocks consider important. Meanwhile, most of us are still setting 5 alarms and arriving late. Human beings and precision exist in a complicated relationship. The funny thing is that our ancestors would probably find all of this absurd. For thousands of years, sunrise was enough information. Now, someone can become irritated because a video conference started 7 minutes late. That's progress, apparently. We've become creatures of schedules, calendars, notifications, deadlines, reminders. Entire industries exist to help us manage time. Books are written about it, seminars are held about it, apps are sold to optimize it. People spend years trying to save a few minutes a day, then immediately lose those minutes scrolling through nonsense online, which feels very on brand for our species. Time zones reveal something wonderfully human. They're evidence that civilization isn't just built from concrete, steel, and electricity. It's built from agreements, invisible understandings, shared rules, collective decisions. The most powerful systems on Earth often exist entirely in our heads. Money, laws, nations, time zones. They're real because we collectively act as if they're real. And when enough people agree on something, remarkable things become possible. A pilot can take off in one country and land in another. A company can coordinate employees across continents. A surgeon can consult a specialist halfway around the world. A family can video chat across oceans, all because humanity somehow managed to organize the planet's clocks. Not perfectly, certainly not elegantly, but well enough, which may be the secret story of civilization. Most of our greatest achievements aren't perfect solutions, they're functional compromises, messy agreements, useful hacks. Time zones are exactly that. A slightly ridiculous system that somehow keeps the modern world running. It's a global patch job, a planetary workaround, an invisible framework holding together everything from airline schedules to first dates. And the next time somebody says, "What time is it?" remember that they're actually asking one of the strangest questions imaginable. Because the answer depends entirely on where you're standing, what agreements your government made, whether politicians change their minds, what day it is, and whether humanity collectively remembered to keep all the clocks pointed in roughly the same direction. When you think about it, it's kind of amazing the whole damn thing works at all. That's it for the binge. Until next time, stay curious about the things that everyone else ignores. They're usually where the best stories are hiding. If you enjoyed this podcast, please like and subscribe.
Tune in right now. Got stories to tell, from the small to the grand, all under one spell. We talk about this, we laugh about that, from the strange to the bliss. Get ready to chat. It's the Binge Podcast, where everything's a blast. It's the Binge Podcast, come join us fast. Right now, got stories to tell, from the small to the grand, all under one spell. We talk about this, we laugh about that, from the strange to the bliss. Get ready to chat. It's the Binge Podcast, where everything's a blast. It's the Binge Podcast, come join us fast. Where everything's a blast. It's the Binge Podcast, come join us fast. Tune in right now. Stories to tell, from the small to the grand, all under one spell. We talk about this, we laugh about that, from the strange to the bliss. Get ready to chat. It's the Binge Podcast, where everything's a blast. It's the Binge Podcast, come join us fast.